Darth Malicos is scary again in Grand Arena. Invincible Stonewall Saw. And Lord Vader giving me the hardest time I've ever had. Just kidding, it was because of Taron Malicos. We got a lot jam-packed here in the Coliseum. While you were stuffing your turkey with gravy, I was stuffing high IQ plays that are gonna leave you sweating. And you don't wanna miss it. And we got a Black Friday special. For every like you put in this video, you get 2 extra likes for free. It was the holidays over here inside of an Alderaan, and we did not have a Grand Arena stream, and boy, it would have been a great one if we did have a stream, but we're gonna make sure we get you all the heat and action that you missed out on. Some really surprising things, especially involving this guy and seeing him in the capacity of Lord Vader, and it's actually quite a scary composition. So let's not keep you in any more suspense and get into the action. Our opponent inside the Coliseum is Balin Zaki, representing the ORS. Or is it ORS? Coming in at 11.9 million GP, but really what matters in Kyber 1 is the Datacrons. Definitely a little bit outgunned in the Datacron department, but nothing that could get in our way. We're used to is what I'm trying to say. Before this Grand Arena, we were knocking on the door of top 50 yet again. Will we be able to get through the madness that's about to pursue? Well, let's find out. Let's take a look at the south side, shall we? Nothing too insane on the south side. Coming in with a Wookiee team, Galactic Legend Rey, Darth Malgus, and a Sith Eternal. First battle on the agenda is Taron Malicos versus Rey. Now, this is my 3rd time running this counter inside a Grand Arena, and I'm gonna say it, the Starkiller fans are gonna hate me. Doesn't mean I don't like Starkiller. I like this battle way more than Starkiller versus Rey. Right now, the Starkiller versus Rey success rates, because of the high defense, the stacking defense going on the level 6, Starkiller is not a great counter right now with those Datacrons, which means we've been needing to find other alternatives, and I've been using Galactic Legends for the first couple Grand Arenas, and I was like, you know what? I want to try Malicos up against Rey, and so far we've had consistent wins up against Rey, but this battle that we have here was definitely one that it seemed like it was close, but you got to remember, Taron Malicos has several savior mechanics built into his kit, so although it looked like it was close, we had plenty of wiggle room to still win, and that's what I like about Malicos. You just keep smashing the rocks, and you have lots of ways to save your team, lots of help, lots of protection up. You're going to get through the battle fine. I've yet to lose a single character fighting Rey, but this one was a little bit tricky for us. There was a Cal Kestis throwing a couple of kinks in our process here, which is, I guess, kind of fitting since Cal fought Malicos inside a Jedi Fallen Order. With Cal's unique ability constantly giving protection up, it got a little tricky, but trust me, once the rocks started getting pulled out of the sky, we were able to nuke Cal, and the rest was pretty straightforward. A couple of interesting healing immunity problems that were causing issues from Jedi training Rey and Ben. The good news is when healing immunity does get dropped, you do get that damage immunity. One thing I absolutely love about pulling this counter, when Rey throws a sudden enrollment, I'm like, cool, thank you for the free banner. Sometimes she hits one of the saviors on one of the characters, and it gets us full health and protection, basically. So again, another solid win. Loving Malicos. Only thing that sucks is he's amazing on defense, but he's beating a lot of Galactic Legends on offense. So it's nice to see you got the flexibility on both sides of the field. And he's shaping up to be one of my favorite Conquest units of all time. Definitely top 3. Super flexible with Sirjunda, with Kylos, with the Reys, and as we're going to talk about, even the things like Lord Vader. Lock it into 72 banners. Let's keep moving on.
Success!
Next up on the list, we decided to take down the other Galactic Legend in our way. This was definitely not a particular threatening Sith Eternal team with no Savage, no Darth Malik, but the Datacron definitely had a lot of survivability attached to it. I wanted to use General Grievous, like, there might be a chance, but with the Datacrons, I just didn't have the confidence, so we decided to pull out Dr. APHRA, and overall, a pretty safe counter, especially with Darth Vader landing ability blocks, preventing Sith Eternal from getting links going, Dr. APHRA with their cooldown increases, and this isn't even with the new Dr. APHRA Datacron coming out this season, which I don't have yet. It's only going to get even easier if you do get the Datacron. These are some of my favorite teams. You spam the damage, jack up their cooldowns, you come in with the win, but it got a little close. The Gucci Man was able to eventually get the link going, able to hit the ultimate, and right before he popped it, we popped, locked, and dropped him instead, not losing a single soul on the field. Another solid win coming in at 63 banners.
Success!
Next up, we pulled out TRAYA versus the Wookiees. As we're gonna see with my defense, I break up my Sith quite a lot lately. Malik and Savage, I've been using in some other aspects out there, which leaves my TRAYA kind of skinnied out with her team. So I try not to do anything too bold with her and decided to just throw her at this Wookiee team with Enfys Nest there and the data crunch shenanigans going on. Didn't really want to risk the Bad Batch here. Not a lot of concerns going on this battle. Very straightforward. Feels like a pretty safe counter going on her. It just takes a minute. The Wookiees are thick. You need to use those insta kills. Otherwise, fairly clean. Nothing too out of order. That chariot can't handle those attacks out of turn. The buffs out of turn. Not the coolest of banners. Probably something else I could have utilized. But nonetheless, TRAYA locking in the win with 61 banners.
Success!
Supreme Leader Kylo versus Darth Malgus. Now this battle is an interesting one. Probably impacted the rest of this grand arena. Darth Malgus went from being amazing when he came out, and then Cal came out, Jedi Knight Cal. And Malgus kind of feeling like he's inferior, useless on defense because Cal was able to easily counter him. It looks like Malgus made a secret pact with Galactic Legend LEIA Organa. And because Leia's main counter is Jedi Master Luke and Cal really helps out, if Cal's being stolen by Jedi Master Luke, you don't got him anymore to take down Malgus. So what do you have? Well, you're back to square one. There's not a lot of great Malgus counters. You either got to throw Galactic Legend, maybe hope that gas gets through. But since I was really trying to make sure I wasn't going to drop banners and it was kind of a risky gas lineup to try to counter this because there's a Savage, which is a little bit anti-General Skywalker, I opted to bust out a Galactic Legend, and that might be causing problems down the road. Or will it? Definitely in hindsight, I definitely have a few thoughts on what the King of Triple B was thinking during this battle. Number one, burning a Galactic Legend. Maybe a little too expensive, but maybe not, considering I couldn't use Cal because there is a Leia that we got to knock down on the top side, as we'll see. But man, the banners are brutal. Ew, definitely gonna be some consequences after this one.
Success!
Now we put our attention towards the top side, where we have the greatest conquest character of all time, and if you disagree, you're just plain wrong. Admiral Trench. Yeah, by the way, that was sarcasm, okay? Just want to make sure we're clear on that. The notorious Finn Resistance lineup. Stonewall Saw, the Boogie Monster, Galactic Legend, Leia Organa. And why don't we just rip off the Bandit and handle her right now? Jedi Master Luke versus Leia Organa. So I've been using Mace Windu with Star Killer on defense since I'm not using Star Killer versus Rey. And what else do you use Star Killer for if not versus Rey in my neck of the woods? We put him on defense. Good news is overall Star Killer is getting the good defensive wins. One of the issues with running the Jedi Master Luke counter versus Leia is you really don't want any support characters because Leia can do all the health equalization garbage and it's really hard to kill her fast and it's already a long process anyways. So I decided to switch up my Jedi on the Star Killer lineup on defense, bringing in Mace Windu for the offensive side of things. Made things a little bit easier, but boy, it's still a lot to get through Leia. But the nice thing about Windu, he's got passive stealth dispels. He has ability blocks. He's got extra assist calling capabilities. This deadly Leia team still takes a long time because of those dang datacrons. But overall, it feels really nice when you're able to kill off a Leia, and if you focus all of your attention on her, she's not going to hit that ultimate that could really ruin your day. Really, the only time we deviate away from this Leia is when Cal's got the insta kill ready. We pop out Drogon to minimize the damage and the assist attacks. When there was a brief moment of stealth, but luckily Mace Windu took care of that, and we were left with about 2 minutes to spare to clean up the rest of the mess. And basically with the datacron reducing damage, kind of felt like I need the whole entire time, but luckily we made it through. Definitely a couple of sketchy moments on the table, but Jedi Master Luke taking out Leia feels kind of good. But at what cost? A Galactic Legend, a Malgus killer, and Jedi Knight Rev and Jedi Knight Luke could definitely be a team. This is almost 3 teams, maybe arguably 4 teams put into one. Ugh. But nonetheless, Master Luke came up on top and dunked on his sister.
Success!
Bad Batch versus Admiral Stench. Now everyone knows I absolutely love Trench. We all know that conquest characters, they shouldn't be good. It's so easy to get conquest characters. Sarcasm aside, I hate Admiral Trench. No one can convince me he's a good conquest unit. Marquee character, fine, but he's not a marquee character. Nonetheless, we used one of the bajillion counters afforded to take on Admiral Trench, bringing out the Bad Batch. Could have used Imperial Troopers here. This variant of Admiral Trench would not have done well for Wampa, but I didn't want to use Imperial Troopers because I saw there was something a bit scary on on the south side. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to make sure we keep everything we need. But Bad Batch got the job done very easily. Trench barely got any plays going. Once you get the daze and the stuns in, it's kind of game over. Nonetheless, barely a minute needed taking down this Conquest character, max banners, and a tear of sadness of Trench.
Success!
REVA versus ZORII Resistance. Now, this was definitely another questionable battle, but let me explain the context of the situation. Number one, we used Dr. APHRA on Sith Eternal. Not a bad exchange. Number two, Master Luke ate up pretty much 4 teams into one. Sometimes I would throw Jedi Knight Revan against us. I couldn't. And you know, with the Resistance, they're kind of a tricky team. And I didn't want to use Imperial Troopers here because, again, I was kind of looking several steps in advance. But seeing the rest of the board that we have here, I didn't think I needed REVA. We did a REVA dunk here. Very straightforward. Nothing too much to it. Yes, we pulled out a win here. Wins are nice. One-shotting. 64 banners. Missed out on a banner. Although it looks overkill, I think it was just okay considering it's one of the tougher teams left and we didn't really need them. But let's keep moving along.
Success!
Dash Rendar versus Stonewall Saw. We got one more team left on the north side, and it's Stonewall Saw. And this was a very durable Stonewall Saw. It has the reduced damage on the level 6. Saw's got also reduced damage on his level 9, increased max health, max protection. And let me just say, it definitely freaked me out a little bit because the reason why we call Saw Stonewall Saw is because he has no flinch animation. He just sits there acting like you're not doing anything. And I had to double check it. I'm like, am I doing damage against this guy? I'm a little peeved with this battle. Definitely didn't need the drop, but it was funny. That's all that's important. Bringing in Dash Rendar versus Saw in a normal situation, a very easy battle. If you are going to try to get the most out of Saw Gerrera, this is definitely one of the better Stonewall Saw lineup with Kyle Katarn, with Cara Dune, with Baze. As long as you're okay breaking up a couple of, you know, not maybe massive teams to put in here, it's an all right team, but it's definitely a lot more threatening because it's hard to get any damage out there with the high defense Krons and the level 6 damage reduction. Luckily, we had Vandar Chewie to eat up a lot of the hits coming our way and able to keep reviving our team. Hindsight's 50-50, as I like to say. You either see it or you don't see it. I probably should have just thrown this battle on full auto, especially once I was realizing we're making momentum, we're winning this battle. The biggest problem was at the very end, Stonewall Saw not flinching, feeling like I wasn't doing any damage, and he timed us out. Definitely disappointing. Went from what should have been a max banner win to being timed out because I didn't hit auto a little bit sooner. Ah!
Failure.
To make matters worse, I brought in a pretty cheesy cleanup thinking I didn't need much, but again, Stonewall Saw is not joking with that Datacron. He was able to take on my garbage leftover bounty hunters, and I dropped another battle for no reason. Again, a pretty bad feeling battle.
Failure.
And finally, we took out our Mandalorians because I didn't see myself using them. And it gave us a chance to show IG-12 and Grogu, able to get through Saw Gerrera, trying to redeem any banners I could have possibly had on a 3-shot. God dang it. Got through him, but definitely a little salty on this one. And down goes the North Wall. And now we get down to the south. I was not expecting this. I anticipated there could have been a Lord Vader, but I maybe should have opened my eyes and tactile scanners a little bit more. What I noticed, Cal was on the raid team. That means they were probably using Malicos in a different capacity. I mean, yes, you could use another unaligned Force user in place of Cal in a Seer Junda lineup. This is the first time I saw someone pull this up on me. Malicos, Lord Vader. And this caused a massive problem for me in Fennec versus Lord Vader, but really it's Malicos. This is some of the early theory crafting ideas we had. It's like, how would Malicos be with Lord Vader and Maul? Well, quite darn deadly. Lord Vader is the ultimate team where Lord Vader does nothing and all the other guys do all the work for him. The Malicos Maul opening plays were just absolutely deadly. Malicos was able to open up the battle with this massive AoE and pretty much nuke my entire team with the Fennec lineup. Normally the Fennec, you only got to worry about Maul doing the single fire damage. You can stop him in his tracks. When the whole team gets nuked, not much you can do, especially when Malicos does back-to-back attacks. So we lost Fennec like right away. We were lucky to have Mando survive, to at least get the insta-kill on Malicos. This is by far the dirtiest Lord Vader team I've seen, and this is the first time I was like, oh wow, I'm in trouble. Normally, worst case scenario, worst case scenario, Maul just happens to kill off Fennec and Beskar Mando right away. Very rare occurrence, but most situations, if something goes bad, I at least, take out most of the team, and Lord Vader's by himself. Not here. I was lucky to even get Malicos knocked out. And it's a good thing we were able to get lucky, because Malicos can prevent revives. So we would not have gotten Mando again, even though he has Bounty Hunters resolved. So we got incredibly lucky and was able to nuke out Malicos. And this is the beginning of a long journey to chip away at Lord Vader. Again, I'm saying it, this is the scariest I've ever seen Lord Vader be for me.
Failure.
Versus Lord Vader. Problem is we still have Maul on the table, and also we have a lot of defense, the survivability and the increased defense for unaligned force users. What the game plan was, let's take out as many as we can get. I've been tempted to put some more relics in my Phoenix. I really don't have high relic Phoenix. Since we're using it for high capacity, it's probably time I put a little bit more, at least like relic 7 across the board if I'm going up against Big Daddy teams, because they just felt like they were not taking enough damage. The good news is, though, there was a silver lining. The king of Triple B, God's gift to mobile gaming, the 8th day creation, was at least able to take out Ninth Sister. So, all right, we're making some progress here.
Failure.
General Anakin Skywalker versus Lord Vader. So we didn't use General Skywalker against Malgus because it was kind of a iffy battle. So we're using him here. Luckily, there's no Thrawn, anything else to really slow us down. Again, the game plan was, let's try to take out as many as we can. The good news is we got Maul taken down. All right, breath of relief. But unfortunately, we just weren't really dishing out enough damage to get through the insane durability of Kylo Ren and Mass. So we tried maybe taking out Lord Vader. It was kind of a lost cause. So in this battle, gas went down, and we still had Lord Vader and Kylo Ren unmasked left.
Failure.
Qui-Gon versus Darth TRAYA. We're going to take a little break from the Lord Vader battle because I wanted to make sure I had enough to take on the other teams in a fairly efficient, sheepish manner. I've been liking this counter a lot because TRAYA is one of those, she could be scary where it feels like you almost need a galactic legend to take her down. They did throw in Darth Malik to try to throw off any possibility of Padme getting through this because Malik does not care about your courage. I use this versus a weaker TRAYA team, so I was like, I'm going to try it out here. Definitely a little bit trickier because we have Malik, because we have Darth Talon here. Kind of a messy battle, but my game plan was I didn't want to use Padme because I didn't feel like I wanted to one-shot this. And Padme didn't feel like a good one-shot, and I kind of wanted to save Shock T because I might need it for my Imperial Troopers. Good news is we're able to pick apart the TRAYA team, nuke them out. Definitely got a little scary, got a little messy, but you know what? Just another day in the office. We wrapped up the battle with 55 banners. Definitely nothing I'd want to brag about at the Thanksgiving table. But Qui-Gon showing there's always a bigger fish.
Success.
The other team we had next to Lord Vader on that back wall was a Qui-Gon Jinn team. There was no Jabba, no need to really save my Night Sisters for much, so we used Night Sisters here. Definitely kind of a wild battle here, but thanks to the unlimited cheese for the Night Sisters, even though this looked brutal because of all the juicy recovery for banners that this team has to offer, we left the Qui-Gon Jinn battle with 65 banners. I can't complain about that. But then we still have this problem. We have Lord Vader, we have Kylo Ren Unmasked, we have the Datacron, and the thing is, even though I have Imperial Troopers, I wasn't confident that we would be able to break through both of these guys with a Trooper run. So I was like, you know what? I'm not pulling out the Trooper card until we get Kylo Ren unmasked out. And that's where we pulled out General Grievous, the tag team on the Lord Vader. Now, it was probably a good thing I didn't use Wat Tambor with my Supreme Leader Kylo when I was fighting Malgus. Wat Tambor was incredibly helpful, keeping the taunt on Magna Guard, having lots of heals for the team, cleanses for the team. And we got exactly what Papa Arnold wanted. Once we got that healing immunity on Kylo Ren Unmasked with General Grievous Basic, we got target lock running, we were able to control Kylo Ren Unmasked, and eventually chip through Kylo. Got way more than I asked for. It was a good thing it worked out where I used B2 on APHRA and I didn't have B2 here. B2 would have been useless on this team. Once you get days on B2, he's nothing. Wat Tambor was the superior play for this type of battle, but we got what we wanted. We took out Kylo Ren Unmasked, and Lord Vader is by himself without any of his friends to do all the heavy lifting. And that's when we were finally able to feel comfortable to pull out Imperial Troopers versus Lord Vader. Vader. Pretty straightforward. We had to bring in a cleanser because we knew the damage over times were going to pop out right away, slowing down Imperial Trooper's turn meter roll. But we had Shock T in the bag. Once she got the cleanse going, we were rolling. But don't be fooled. There were a few times where it looked like, oh gosh, we're losing out on some steam here. But luckily, we're able to keep that turn meter trooper roll going. It was a lot of Lord Vader to work through. Still, the Datacrons are pretty brutal when they have anything defense, health, protection related. And ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead. I mean, in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have used Supreme Coward on Malgus, but as I said, Malgus LEIA, they have a treaty, they have a pact to kind of take away Cal, so Malgus is cool again on defense. I didn't have the confidence, the gas to one-shot Malgus. I pulled out Supreme Coward thinking, worst case scenario, if there is a Lord Vader, it's not going to be anything crazy. Fennec and, Phoenix and Imperial Troopers can break it apart. Malicos was definitely scary on this team. And when even looking at the success rates, I don't feel bad for not having Supreme Leader Kylo. The Supreme Leader Kylo win rates do not look great up against Lord Vader with Maul and Malicos. With an average win rate of about 31%, that's not great. And of course, if you take out Malicos, the win rates skyrocket at that point. So this goes to show, if you don't have a Seer Junda, this is one of yet another several avenue direction you can take your Malicos. Even though you might not get the full package with Malicos and Lord Vader, because Lord Vader is not an unaligned force user, there are still plenty of synergies baked in to protect the unaligned force users like Maul. So there you go, let the record show. This is the scariest Lord Vader I've ever fought. The first time I was worried I wouldn't get through a Lord Vader, but of course it wasn't because of Lord Vader himself. Just a reminder, that is an expensive Lord Vader team. You got Lord Vader, you have Maul, which is a Kenobi killer, you have Malicos, which is destroying a lot of Galactic Legends, and it's a great defensive team. That's 3 Galactic Legend teams almost baked into one. So we decided to give it a rest, let my opponent eat the table a little bit, and we came back the next day to handle ships. But man, do we got ships locked in. I don't need a Profundity, I don't need a Leviathan, I don't need an Executor to get my way through a defense. We have all the toys in the toolbox that we need. Malevolence versus the Profundity. This is a great Profundity counter when it works. The biggest risk factor is if your Genosian Spy gets nuked, he's always going to get targeted. If your Genosian Spy gets nuked at the beginning, you're kind of in trouble. But generally, with a higher relic Genosian Spy, mine is relic 8, we usually survive, and this went very well. They even dodged a hit. Very simple game plan. Lock in the Buzz Droids on the Y-Wing. Make sure you cleanse off the Genosian Spy with Grievous's special. Spy calls everyone to assist on Y-Wing, and usually that's a guaranteed kill right there, and the rest just falls into place. The Profundity battle really is all about the Y-Wing. If the Y-Wing dies fast, you're going to win. If it takes a while, you're in trouble. It's a counter people tend to forget about because it's kind of an oldie but goldie. That goes to say, just because it's old doesn't mean it's obsolete. The biggest issue for Profundity really is the freaking Millennium Falcon dodges are annoying, but we pulled out on top with 65 banners.
Success!
Now you might be thinking, oh, Arnold, you used the Negotiator here. No, I wanted to use the Negotiator on Malevolence to try to bag as many banners as I can. So I decided that for here, since there was no Executor, why don't we pull out a Chimera counter? Now, before the Marauder came out, this was kind of the go-to counter for the post-multi-buff Leviathan. And it's kind of an expensive lineup. This is like a 2 conquest unit fleet, but it gets the job done versus Leviathan. Really, there wasn't anything crazy going on that had me worried about this battle. Once you get the Dorito out, things go pretty well. It's all about just surviving, getting as many dodges as possible until you get your insta kill. And luckily, we got some pretty solid damage with this fleet, so we're able to get quick work done. The biggest concern is if they do call it the Mark 6 Interceptor, that's when things always get a little bit stalled out. It takes a while to get through all those stacks. But luckily, we were able to work through this fleet so fast we didn't even have to worry about the Mark 6 Interceptor. So Thrawn was able to show his aerial dominance once more with a 70 banner win over the Leviathan. I decided to just bring in a full fleet. I'm like, man, I'm playing like a god right now on the fleets. I don't want to screw up. I overkilled it. I brought way too many reinforcements, more than necessary. You only need Plo and maybe Ahsoka and you're good to go. I'm like, let's not screw around. Classic Malevolence counter. One thing I was tempted to try was bringing in Marauder as a starting unit because Marauder really messes up the Malevolence. But we just kind of kept the basics. Classic counter. Nothing really too much to brag about here. At the end of the day, we walked out. Normally I can get over 70 banners if I didn't bring so many reinforcements, and there were a couple of banner sniper things going on here. We got 68 banners. Definitely could have gotten into the 70s if I took out a few more reinforcements. So you might be wondering, did Stonewall Saw mess us up? Did the Malicos Lord Vader comp ruin my chance of winning? Well, let's take a look at the final score. And the final score, ladies and gentlemen of the Kyber Empire, was 1742 versus Balin's 1662. Another fine win for the Empire, let me tell you. Let's take a look at our defense, shall we? What caused problems for Balin? Taking a look at the south side, we had Jedi Master Kenobi getting one-shotted. Galactic Legend Rey, it makes sense because they didn't have Malicos in offense, and Star Killer's not a great counter. I don't know what they used against Rey, but Rey, I know we've been talking a lot about Galactic Legend LEIA being the best defensive team. Rey has been getting very consistent wins for me as well over the past couple weeks. My Lord Vader, no Malicos, luckily got a hold, and my Galactic Legend LEIA ORGANA, one-shotted. Maybe they used the same Master Loot thing that I did, or something else. The back wall, nothing too crazy, but again, when I was crafting my defense, I was trying to make sure there weren't any Bad Batch vulnerabilities, nothing that Imperial Troopers could beat easily, so they had to use something semi-expensive. Iden Versio taking a two-shot, so they had to do something a little bit more expensive, I bet, to get through that. And Tusken's taking a one-shot as well. They could have maybe used Bad Batch on Tuskens if I think about it now. Topside, we got another holding opportunity. Star Killer. As I said, I'm not using Star Killer for much this Grand Arena season. The Datacrons are ruining it for him. But he has been getting me semi-decent defensive holds, where we got a nice hold right here. Darth Malgus getting one-shotted again, hoping I put my opponent in a situation like I was in, where if you're using Cal on LEIA ORGANA, you got to do something else for Malgus, and that could be expensive. Then we had Sith Eternal with Savage and Malik got one-shotted, and Jabba as well got one-shotted. But usually, as you know, not many can go toe-to-toe on fleets with me. I put the biggest defense down, putting the pressure on my opponents, and we can see Balin had trouble in paradise. 3 shots on the Executor, 2 shot on the Profundity, and they did get the 1 shot on Leviathan. And that right there was the Grand Arena experience. And that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the next Grand Arena. How many 500,000% defense crimes will we have to go through? I don't know, but let's keep the domination going strong that we've locked in for this season of Grand Arena. Leave that like, comment down below. Thank you for watching. And even though I already said it the other day, thank you as always for all the support you've given me. And I can't wait to have more fun. And you keep making me say how it's great to be in the Empire today.
The sun never sets. We dominate.